Hi, I'm Teresa Moore, and welcome to my Earn a Free Wardrobe by Becoming a Doncaster Model class. Today's class is going to teach you one of the basics of learning how to create wealth, and that is taxation, planning for taxation. And I teach, as I teach wealth classes, I teach my students how you need to be proactive about taxes. What that means is you need to plan for taxes before you make the money, not after. First of all, do you have to be trained? No. In fact, as a Doncaster model, you can be a size 2 to a size 24 woman, and what you want to do is just wear the clothes. And usually when you're wearing your clothes and you have a nice outfit on, someone normally says, "God, that's a great dress, where'd you get it?" Well, that's basically what a Doncaster model is going to be. As you're wearing anything from the Doncaster line, if someone asks you, "Where'd you get that outfit?" you just say, "Well, it's from Doncaster, and here's how you can order it." And you just refer them to a Doncaster consultant. So you're not even selling. In fact, most people, when they hear home business, they get all concerned that they've got to sell something. And a Doncaster model is not that. You're just modeling the clothes, and if somebody asks you, you refer them. And that's basically it. And for referring, the Doncaster consultant will agree to pay you 10% referral fees. If I can teach a woman how to write off her clothes, she's now going to feel great about buying clothes because it's giving her a tax deduction. And if we can teach you how to build that wardrobe to bring out the unique personality within you, it's going to start to build your confidence in who you are. It's really exciting for me to be able to show you how to get a free wardrobe with tax dollars. And the less you pay in taxes, the more excited I get. So here's where the fun starts. Most people don't like taxation, but I'm going to turn taxation into a fun experience. And I'm going to be teaching from Dan Pila. Dan Pila is a tax expert who has worked, he has accountants and attorneys and CPAs around the country who work to help people with tax abuse. And so he has this great little book, How to Double Your Tax Refund. I'm going to start to show you where you can generate deductions to offset your W-2 income. And one of the nice things about Dan Pila's work is he has a little smart tax form kit so that you can start to audit-proof your return. Most people, when they think home business, they get really concerned. If I take all these aggressive deductions, I'm going to get audited. It's going to be a red flag, and I'm going to end up paying. And Dan's work is he actually shows you how to maintain logs and the proper documentation so the IRS cannot question your deductions. So first of all, let me take you through a tax form so you're not so intimidated. So our objective is to see what's my tax budget. What is my tax liability that I can now use to buy new clothes from Doncaster? And every time I wear those clothes, how's that going to benefit me tax-wise? So first of all, we have our normal W-2 wages, and now as we start our own Doncaster business. Now, what do you have to do? Do you have to go get a business license? No. All you do is say, "I want to be a Doncaster model." Buy some clothes, and you're now that model. And I want you to know, I am not a licensed CPA or accountant. I work with professionals. I can give you questions, directions of how to ask your professionals. So anything I give you here is just strategy, but you need to take it to your professional, tax professional, and make sure that you're doing it correctly because there are lots of conditions. We're going to start to shift money you're already spending, but we're going to shift them into taxable events. So I want you to start thinking proactive. Let's see, I can spend it on myself or I can give it to Uncle Sam. Okay? And our goal is there's about $9,600 that I can now start to spend for myself. So let's see what that looks like. If I teach you to set up a home office, and let's say you take 25% of your house or your apartment, that might be a bedroom, it might be a kitchen, it might be, well, it won't be a kitchen, but it might be your dining room. So let's say if you took 25% of that, $1,500 a month is actually $18,000 a year. $18,000 of your $38,000 is going to your rent or your mortgage. Now hopefully if you took my creative real estate class, you get into a house so that you're not spending it on rent, but you're actually investing in an asset growing. Your mortgage payment becomes a deduction, but it also becomes an asset growing. So $18,000, and if you use 25% of it for your home office, you get to use that as a deduction. Let's see what that turns out to. So the deduction becomes $4,500 a year. So now we've taken out of the 18 you're spending, no deduction, we've now created a $4,500 deduction for you. And same thing, your auto, you're spending $6,000 a year, and if you use 25% of it for your business. Now let's think about that. Now if I'm wearing a Doncaster outfit and I go to work, am I doing two jobs? Yes, you're doing your W-2 job, but you're also doing your job of being a Doncaster model. So every time you wear your Doncaster clothes to work and someone asks you about it, you're doing two jobs. That means that your auto expense can now be a deduction, because the rule is you can't go from home to work and write that off. You can go from work to something else and write it off. But if your office is at home and you go from your office to a second workplace, that now becomes a deduction. So let's say that we just got 25% of the car use that was now not a business deduction, and we made it a business deduction. That's a $1,500 deduction. And you won't be able to write off your food. But let's look at utilities. Your utilities, because your office is in your home, say that's $2,400 times 25%. That's a $600 deduction. And then finally, let's look at that $500. Now let's see, when you go to the movies, if you're wearing your Doncaster outfit, you're working, aren't you? You're being a model, demonstrating a line of clothing. If you go out to lunch, you're working. If you go on a trip, you're working, and you're wearing a Doncaster outfit, you're now working. So I want you to start to see the flexibility of becoming a Doncaster model, as it gives you the opportunity to convert non-taxable expenses into taxable as long as you're wearing that clothing. In fact, some of the other things, so let's see what that is. $500, and let's say $6,000 of it. So you've got $6,000. Now can you imagine that? Out of $48,000, only $6,000 you really get to enjoy your life with. And let's say you can convert 75% of that $6,000 expense into a tax deduction. That gives you a $4,500 deduction. And if we total this up, 45 and 45 is 9,000, and 21 is, I don't know how I got it, but it's about, well, let me just use my calculator. So don't be afraid about numbers. That's why they made calculators. 4,500 plus 4,500 plus 1,500 plus 600, $11,000 in deductions. $11,000, normally if you have $11,000, whatever the amount of deduction is, if you apply it by 30%, that's about what the refund is. Okay, so there's a $3,300 refund, so that's the budget you get to start to work with. Out of $9,000, just with this, there's a $3,300 budget for buying clothes. And so Dan teaches you how to determine what your proper withholding should be so that you can immediately inform your boss or your company to stop withholding. So if you know you have enough deductions, there's no reason for them to withhold. So you change your W-2, you have the money come back to you in the next pay period, so you have it available to buy your clothing line. So you can basically give yourself a pay raise today, 30% pay raise, just by choosing to start wearing the Doncaster line, sharing with other people, and claiming the home business because you now become a Doncaster model. So I encourage you to check out the fall season, go online, look at some of the clothing, purchase Randolph Duke's book, purchase Dress Your Best, find out what fits well for you, and start your journey to creating wealth by understanding tax liability. You can use your Doncaster business to shelter the first $100,000 of your income. If you need some help on your specifics, I strongly encourage you to take my home business tax class, which is an interactive live. That means you can ask your questions either online in a live class or in a facilitated class, and we can actually get specifics and help you with what you truly can write off and what might be questionable. And I encourage you to check it out, and look forward to seeing you in the next class that you check.